We are live. Hey guys, thank you for joining me again on this gloriously beautiful Sunday, regardless of the circumstances. We are here. We showed up for you today to give you just a little bit of a break. It's a little heavy world going on right now, but it's going to be all right. So today, I am Joni Riles. I am the founder of Seek and Sip Travel, where we travel the world searching for the perfect sip. You know, every Sunday we come here, we bring our friends into the Perfect Sip studio virtually, and they're here to just show us some love through cocktails and wine. And so that's what we're going to do today. So today I have a very special person for you guys to meet. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Vance Henderson last year, attended one of his fabulous parties at one of our conventions. All I'm going to say is I'm so excited for you guys to meet him. Vance is a sweetheart, a wonderful person, truly a joy in the world. I look forward to his post. So inspirational. And without further ado, I'm going to let you meet Mr. Vance Henderson of Hendrick's Gin. Hey, Vance.
Hey there, thanks so much. Thanks so much for the intro. I'm doing all right. You know, as my grandmother would say, complaining ain't gonna fix nothing. So I'm doing all right.
And no one cares anyway, really, right? We all
there you go.
And stuff. So here we are.
Don't start none, won't be none. That's all I'm gonna say.
So now, Vance, where are you? Where are you located?
Yeah, I'm home in Washington, D.C., originally from New Jersey, but I'm home like most of us. I've been here for who knows how many days, who knows how many months. But one thing I do know, this is the longest I have been grounded since I've started this whole, stepping in this whole realm of marketing and being an ambassador. That's for certain.
So I'm very excited that you started that way because I have so many questions for you.
Bring it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in the bartending industry?
Bartending. Well, that's an easy one. I came to DC to go to college, went to Howard University, HU, you know. And like most, I had, jobs while through, working through college. And my first gig in DC was at a restaurant called America that's no longer in existence. It was in Union Station, the train station here in DC. And my first position there was as a host. It might have been my freshman, sophomore year, something like that. And literally worked my way up from host, maitre d', server, head server, so forth, and, positions after that. And one day on a service shift, I had asked the manager, I said, I sure would like to, get behind the bar and just learn, drinks and cocktails, because at the time, I had been working there who knows how many years at that point, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I don't know. I was there the entire time I was at Howard. And I said, I'd love to learn some drinks. I knew that the bartenders made more money than servers did back then. Maybe that might be the case, before COVID flipped us all upside down and inside out. And I was like, I just would like to learn a few drinks. I wasn't even entertaining the idea of wanting to be a bartender. I just wanted to learn some recipes. And the following week, he put me on a schedule to, start bartending. And literally, that's how the whole beverage piece and road for me began. Beyond that, I worked for the government on Capitol Hill, and I had a catering company. I had an underground supper club, for a time, and I love to cook. Food, ingredients, being in the kitchen is my personal place anyway. So to work with cocktails and ingredients and craft drinks really was a smooth and complimenting transition for me, because it was being able to create things with flavor and essentially at the end of the day to make something with my hands for someone else that they could enjoy. And if they were to get some satisfaction by something that I had created, then that did something for me. And that was the through line for bartending, for being a server, for running my catering company, whether it was weddings or funerals or whatever it was. It's always being able to create an experience for someone else. And if by chance they get joy out of it, then that's my payment per se.
Wow. So that's so interesting. I now understand what attracted me to your energy is because you also have a heart of service.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people who are naturally givers and natural born educators and naturally just want to see people okay. You know what I mean? That
Yes.
they have like a kinship, if you will. So now
Mm-hmm.
I understand why, you quickly become one of my favorite people in the industry. So that's
Thank
amazing.
you.
And guys, I will tell you that when you start following Vance, I've noticed that Vance likes to cook on holidays. And this man don't cook like no crap. I'm telling you, it's like Thanksgiving. He throwing down turkey, mac and cheese, sweet potatoes, greens. Like he cooking for 2 days, y'all, and it's amazing.
It
It's
is without
good.
question
I cannot wait to sit.
a multi-day process for sure. It's no doubt
Oh,
about that. And
absolutely. If you
yeah.
ain't got a couple days under your belt, you're not doing it right, right?
And I also tell folks, it takes a while to craft that, because that's love goes into every meal. But holidays are special. It's not often these days that you can get the full family together. So when you have those opportunities, you have to show out and do it for the family, because we don't get those that many times throughout the year. So yeah, I mean, I just absolutely love it. But I also give the disclaimer, like, if you come to my house for the holidays, don't expect for it to be healthy. It's going to be the best thing you ever tasted. But don't be coming over here talking anything about no calories, because I ain't trying to hear it.
That's so. I remember seeing a quote some time ago when we first started our lockdowns, and I guess the chef started like delivering food to your home and stuff. And it was like,
Yeah.
look, don't expect me to care nothing about your arteries. Just eat.
It's up to the individual. It's all about balance. It's about balance. It's not
Absolutely.
every day that you go buck wild with something fried, or, even, consuming alcohol, but it's all about balance and responsibility. And that falls to the individual. Just
Uh-huh.
don't come judging me on the holidays, because again, I'm not trying to hear it.
All right, I'm off camera for a quick second, guys, because I am a one woman show today. But here I go. I just wanted to make sure we could see the comments. So my girl Jeremy has tuned in. Hey, Jeremy. So later, probably next year when we meet again, Vance, Jeremy is actually a really great girl. I really want to kind of put you two together. Jeremy is
Sure.
from Texas, and she is starting her own wine label.
Nice.
So, yes, very good.
I love the wine. I love the wine.
So tell us a little bit about Hendrick. So I'll tell you why I fell in love with Hendrix.
Okay.
I was never a gin drinker.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most disgusting spirit I had ever tasted. Even if
Oof.
it was G&T, I did gin and tonic.
Oof.
I did not want it. It was gross.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what bar I was in, but the guy, I guess he had just got the Orbium in. And
Okay.
so he's like, I want to make you a drink. And I'm like, okay, cool. What are you making? And he's like, nothing, just drink it. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. You can't tell me to drink it. I need to know what you put in it. And
Yeah.
so he said, I'm gonna make you a cocktail with Hendrick's gin. And I was like, oh
Right.
no. I don't drink gin. And he's like, trust me, you're gonna love it. And I was like, I'm not gonna love it. I don't like it. So he poured a little bit in a shot glass for me. He was like, smell it. And then I sniffed it and I was like, whoa, okay, what's this? What's in here? So then he poured the regular Hendrix. He was like, now sniff this one. And I was like, ooh, that's nice. What's that? He
Okay.
said, just sit back and I'm gonna make this cocktail for you. He made the cocktail, I sipped it, and it was unbelievable. It was totally not the regular gin that I had grew up with, no labels mentioned. But it was completely left field. And it
Okay.
really started encouraging me to explore other gins as well. But it's in my kitchen, it's always in my on my bar. I love Hendrick's gin. So tell us a little bit about Hendrick's and what makes Hendrick's so special.
Right. So you gave the absolute perfect description, and it was fantastic to hear your journey in falling in love, I dare say, with Hendrix, and growing an affinity for gin from originally not being a gin drinker, a consumer, or a liker or a lover of gin for whatever reasons, and then Hendrick's being kind of a conduit to welcome you into our world of the unusual, as we like to say. I, like you, was very much in that boat. Gin just did not do it for me. You know, I was running a rum bar here in Washington, D.C. for a good bit of time. And, you know, we had, regular service, lunch service, dinner service, brunch on the weekends, and the nightclub on the weekends, Friday and Saturday. For all of you out there, that's where I learned all of my salsa moves. So if you ever want to get down with a 1-2 step, I've got you.
He says the salsa too.
Nevertheless, that's another conversation, another episode, another day. So I loved rum, and after that bar, I went and ran a tequila bar. So then I loved agave spirits. But I was always had very good relationships with my sales reps. And one of my sales reps, very good friend of mine then, very good friend today, named Jordan Davidowitz, was over at his house for dinner, and his wife was making cocktails. She pulled out this bottle, you know, from, you know, the cabinet. It was like this short, you know, black, you know, stubby bottle with the short neck. I'm like, what is that? Mm-hmm. She goes to make this drink, and I'm like, what in the world is she doing? And then, you know, she pours the gin, she pours whatever else she poured in it over the ice, tall glass. And then she went and sliced some cucumber, and she put that in. I'm like, oh, what in the blue hell are you doing over there? Cucumber in a no. And this is before I stepped into the world of craft bartending, fresh juices and fresh ingredients and all of that. Because my origins of bartending, I could work magic with a gun, soda gun, and I could work magic with a bottle of Rose's lime juice and a bottle of Rose's grenadine. Magic. Another time, another story, another episode. But it intrigued me, and I tasted the drink, and it was fantastic. Fast forward, you know, about 2 weeks later, I wound up getting introduced to an opportunity for me to actually work for that brand, Hendrick's Gin, this is 2014 in Washington, D.C. And it was so amazing to me that I had just tasted it for the first time a week prior, and here an opportunity, you know, came. So my history with Hendrick's goes all the way back to 2014. It was the first brand I ever worked on. I worked on it here locally in Washington, D.C. And it's amazing to be back on the brand. I've seen, you know, how my career has blossomed from that small role. Either way, it being so unusual, one, we say that no other gin in the world tastes like Hendrick's because no other gin in the world is made like Hendrick's. 100% true. In 1999, you know, Hendrick's hailing from Girvan, Scotland was unheard of. A gin to come from Scotland, you know, not London, wasn't London Dry, it didn't come from, you know, Belgium, or, you know, wasn't from, you know, Spain or anywhere like that. Like a gin from Scotland, of all places, the land of Scotch. But there is miraculous water there in Girvan, Scotland, that we use. Beyond the water, beyond it being unusual for it to have come from Girvan, Scotland, we also use these 11 particular botanicals that go into it. And those 11 botanicals go into 2 different stills. And this is where we fortify the idea and our promise and belief and fact that Hendrick's is unusual. It's because the gin comes from 2 different distillates, where a lot often come from one. So we have these 2 stills that we use, the Bennett still and the Carterhead still. One of those stills produces a spirit that's very fragrant, that is more light, and the other produces a spirit that's more robust, and both of them extremely flavorful, but 2 completely different directions of spirit, and they sit completely different on the palate. And what Leslie Gracie, our master distiller, does, she takes those 2 distillates and she brings them together to blend them for one. And then that blend of those 2 distillates are then infused with cucumber and rose. Again, completely unheard of. Why on earth would anyone infuse a gin that is known to use botanicals, and, you know, maybe it's, you know, orange and of course juniper and coriander and you know, orris root or whatever it is, or angelica root, all these different things that you hear in different gins, and you can kind of follow the trends in botanicals. But then to use 11 botanicals, put those 11 botanicals in 2 different stills, produce 2 completely different spirits, bring those 2 spirits together, and then infuse it with the essence of cucumber and rose, and to produce a spirit that is, again, light and so flavorful and takes you in so many different directions. And it leads and feeds the story of Hendrick's very whimsical and peculiar world. If you were to look at all of the branding of Hendrick's, we embrace fully this unusualness and doing things in an odd way. Infusing a spirit with cucumber and rose in 1999 was without question odd and peculiar. So everything about this brand, whether it's the original with the 11 botanicals, the cucumber and the rose, or the midsummer solstice, or the orbium, or the Amazonia that we have that will be available in airports and global travel retail, or our lunar, which will come out in 2021, all of them tell a story. And that's what Hendrick's does so well. I'd say that and believe that before I worked on the brand, when she pulled that crazy bottle off the shelf and made that drink, and I believe it today. I've seen it, and we truly rest on that it is without question the most unusual gin in the world. And that's in essence what it is. It's not just peculiar because we transport you to these whimsical places and create these spectacular and magical events and activations. It's not solely that. It's not solely that it's cucumber and rose. When you combine all of those things with the fact of what they did, created 2 different distillates and brought those together, and then added cucumber and rose, man, that's oddly inefficient. Well, we do all of that in batches of 500. Yes, it's inefficient, and we still do. So that's the story in a nutshell.
Wow. That is amazing. And I will back you up on that, on the amazing activations. On the in the bartending world, activation is like a party. So when we go to conventions and things like that, each brand holds its own party, if you will, in a particular area. Last year in New Orleans, they were in a theater, and it was this whole grand production. I'm going to post the pictures and the video from last year. And that's why most bartenders, if they've been, I'm not a bartender, but I'm in the hospitality industry. We are so blue because Tales of the Cocktail is our time to get together. We haven't seen each other. We kick back, we learn, we have great times together, and then we attend these activations, and it's so much fun. But we won't talk about it. I'm so blue that we're not going to be there this year, but there's always next year. I'm definitely going to post my pictures in my video from last year. So having said that, so let's get started a little bit on our cocktails. And then I want you to kind of talk to me a little bit about your personal mantra. Love it. So definitely wanted to kind of get some information about that. We could all need a little inspiration right about now. So let's get into it.
Sure. All right. Well, the cocktail today, did you want to use original Hendrick's or the Midsummer Solstice? Because this can go either way for this cocktail.
Midsummer Solstice is my favorite one. So I would love that one.
Absolutely. We can do that. Make sure I got about 2 ounces in there. If not, pull another bottle. All right. So this cocktail that we're going to make is called the Ricky Rosé. And I created this cocktail, for 2 things. It tips the hat and nods and pays tribute to the iconic and classic cocktail, the Gin Ricky, which has roots here in Washington, D.C. There was a bar here, I believe it was called Shoemaker's Bar, and I think it was Colonel Ricky, and the whole story, came together of this cocktail being named after this gentleman, in the 1880s. And it's purportedly a collaboration between this colonel, Joe Ricky, and the bartender. And, originally it was with bourbon. And then, of course, when they put gin in the cocktail, it just took off and really blew up, in essence in popularity. So it tips the hat to the classic Gin Ricky. But it also tips the hat to another thing that I love. I love wine. I love cocktails, but I love wine. If I did not become a brand ambassador in the year 2014, I without question was on my way to becoming a sommelier. I think I'm left off at like level 2 or something like that. I don't know. Either way, but here I am. It's never too late. I still love to drink wine. It is what it is. But the cocktail tips that had to my love and, of course, the warmer weather, the trend and appreciation for rosé wine. There is no wine in this cocktail by any means, but you'll get how we tip the hat to that. All right, so we're going to start off with hello, Club Soda. We're going to start off with 2 parts of Hendrick's Midsummer Solstice. Now, any variant that you see of Hendrick's Midsummer Solstice, Hendrick's Orbium, Hendrick's Amazonia, or Hendrick's Lunar that is coming out are at their core original Hendrick's. We are not creating a new spirit, a new distillate. It is original Hendrick's. All of these are those original 11 botanicals with the cucumber and the rose. That is our house. That is our mother brand. This is the mother liquid. But what we're doing in the variants is that we are adding additional essences. So when it comes to Midsummer Solstice, we are telling the story and celebrating the Midsummer Solstice, but it comes across more floral because we add additional floral essences. Or when it comes to Orbium, it's a reimagining of what Hendrick's would be like if it were created in a parallel universe. Great for martinis, but it uses the essence of wormwood and blue lotus blossom, and it is as quinine is quinitated. And then, so forth and so on with the other variants. They tell a particular story and they include additional essences, but at their core, they are original Hendrick's. So, Ricky Rosé, 2 parts of Hendrick's Midsummer Solstice, and we're going to build this straight into the glass. All right.
Here's a little bit of honesty. So, because of everything that's going on, and I want to let you guys at home know this too, my delivery got canceled from the neighborhood, our friendly neighborhood spirits liquor store, and we can't go out. So, of course, I'm a few ingredients here. I kind of took some things that I had at home and just kind of said, well, I'll just make it do what it do, if you will. So
that's all we can do. You're all good.
Perfect.
All good. No judgment. No judgment. All right. So 2 parts of the gin, and then we're going to go a half part of simple syrup. All right. Very easy to make a simple syrup. Equal parts sugar, equal parts water. You don't have to put heat on it. You can just, stir it until the sugar dissolves. Or if you want to do it faster, you can put heat on it, let the sugar dissolve, and then wait for it to cool. Simple syrup, straight in. All right, half part. All right, so how we tip the hat to the rosé in the name and the wine is that we're doing Peychaud's bitters. Now we're going to do 2 to 3 dashes. I'm going to do 3 dashes. You can do whatever it is that you like. We're going to do 3 dashes straight into the glass, and you see how that changes the whole color and complexion of the cocktail. It gives it a nice red or pink hue there. Bitters is going to be, in layman's terms, like a salt and pepper or seasoning to cocktails. A little goes a very long way. It's a combination of different herbs and spices. It's kind of like a seasoning for a cocktail. I literally have maybe 75 different bitters here on this left wall in my liquor room. And you can do one cocktail at its core, but add different bitters and it becomes so many different, cocktails. So 3 dashes of the bitters in, and then you cannot have a Ricky without lime at its base. An original Ricky or traditional Ricky will use the gin, the club soda, lime juice, and that is it. What we are doing with Hendrick's, because I like round flavors. I don't like things to be sharp or go too much in one direction. I like nice rounded flavors on the palate. That is why we added the simple syrup. It's not to sweeten the cocktail. The simple syrup is just to round it off so everything sits very nicely on the palate and comes across very nicely. Lime juice, you're looking for 3/4 parts there, straight into the glass. You see how the complexion there changes. You got a little more pink going on here versus the red.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have a little bit of ice. Again, very easy to make this cocktail. Ice goes in.
My glasses. I'm gonna steal a glass from my table back here.
You're good. You are good. And then we're just going to top it off with 3 parts of club soda. Go straight in. And in the world of Hendricks, because we left things unusual, we have a cucumber spear that I have already cut. That spear is going to go in. And this spear is going to serve one as like a swizzle or a spoon to stir or churn your cocktail, get everything nice and mixed. You just can't use it as a straw, but who needs those, all right? Get everything mixed, and just like that, you have your Ricky Rosé. Tip in the hat to the classic and iconic Gin Ricky, as well as the delicious rosé wine that we enjoy on so many weekends, happy hours, weeknights, in the backyard, in the patio, and all right, I'm sorry. Salute to you, darling. It's good to see your face. Let's taste.
Cheers.
And it is rounded. It is easy to make. All ingredients you can have delivered in our quarantine times. Everything that you can pronounce, nothing that is hard to find. Easy, light, refreshing, super delicious. I like to say it is crushable. It is not for... it is not weak. It is just very well-constructed cocktail that is just indeed crushable. I mean, it's good.
But I cannot wait until my actual delivery comes so I can make it. But my variation, what I did was I had some strawberries. So I took some strawberries and a little bit of, and here's me doing mad sciences in the kitchen. I had some rose essence in my cabinet from baking stuff. So I put a couple drops there and there with the strawberry, a little bit of the strawberry. I didn't even use a whole lot of it. Macerated it a bit and then put a little bit of simple syrup in there and then just kind of swirled it around.
Oh, yeah.
That was the simple syrup that I used. And then, of course, the Midsummer's gin, some bitters, and then I had a Meyer lemon. So I'm a Meyer lemon fanatic. I never ever leave the grocery store without them. I think they're amazing. So that's what I use, and I'm still very, very happy with this cocktail. I think it's a really good. It's light, and it's very summertime-ish. So I'm actually looking forward to trying that rosé as well. Good.
Mm-hmm.
So
no pinky, no drinking. Remember that. No pinky, no drinking.
Okay, here we go.
All right, let me stop playing. Miss Maya Lemon. I'm gonna hold you to that. Oh, I'm not gonna let that live. I'm not gonna let it die. Maya Lemon. I got you.
I love it. I do. It's
they're delicious.
Hey, it is, and a lot of people, when you see Meyer lemons, guys, try to pick them up and try them out. I like to look at it as like it's better than a regular lemon because regular lemons can be really bitter. But the Meyer lemon is closer to the orange family, so you get more of the sweet kind of citrus essence. And I think personally, it really brings out whatever cocktail that you're making or sipping on. So limes or lemons, but definitely Meyer lemons more so than regular lemons. So that's my contribution there.
Heard, chef.
So really quick, let's talk a little bit about your inspiration. So traveling. So how does cocktails tie in with traveling to you? Do you have a particular destination that came to mind when you developed the Ricky Rosé, or do you would you like to sip this Ricky Rosé somewhere, and why?
The Ricky Rosé I did not find an inspiration via any travel. It was more so the season and wanting to hero and tip the hat to the classic Ricky. I'm all about modern classics. You know, everything that we have is a riff and or a build or an evolution of something else if you look at it at its core. So that's where this came from. But without question, I can always pick a place that I would love to sip on this.
Great.
And if I had to pick a place, it would be at this current time, Portugal.
Portugal.
It
Okay.
would be Portugal, about Lisbon, Lisboa, Portugal, wine country, on a boat, gliding up the Douro River, one sip of my Ricky Rosé with Hendrick's gin, another sip of maybe a Douro wine, a little bit of cheese, some meats, the wind, music, wind blowing through my hair, darling, through these locks. No, that is the place that I would pick. I love traveling, and that is one of my favorite places. Portugal, all of it, every bit of it.
So any places globally or locally that as a bartender you would love to go to either just kind of experience the cocktail culture there or expand your skill set, anything like that?
Sure, I have. I love going to London. I love going to Europe. You know, London. I get there before everything switched up. I got there often. There is a finesse to cocktail culture and bartending. It's a finesse to bartending in London, Europe, but specifically in this case, London, that tickles my fancy. I've not seen anything development wise or cocktail wise that really blows me away as like, oh man, that was just so new. But there's just a style of bartending, like in London hotels, that it just does it for me. I love a great hotel bar. I just love it. I love a great hotel bar, music, people, in and out, bartenders. I just love it. I love that transientness. Um, Cocktail culture in Australia, Sydney, Australia. I would have loved to have had more time there. I had a little bit of time there last year in 2019, and it felt like it just wasn't enough. Would love to explore that more. I've never been to Japan or China. Not been there. Tokyo. I've not been there. I would love to explore that. I mean, that's a style that I can only imagine. I've had friends go, but that is definitely on my list. That would have been my Asia would have been where I spent a lot of my travel this year. That was on my list to get around there for the first time. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
It's weird. A lot of bartenders I talk to, well, I won't say a lot, but quite a few of them, they always say Thailand for some reason.
Okay.
I think they're very flamboyant in Thailand with their cocktail style, maybe. So maybe that has something to do with it. Okay. I don't know. In London, what I've seen, they're very traditional. Very kind of service oriented, kind of like when you go to New Orleans and you go to like Broussard's or something like that. They're very Southern hospitality, but it's like New York fine dining experience, which is the only way that I can really explain it. But it's very service oriented, very much service forward, very traditional in the sense of how they serve it and everything. So I can see you being really attracted to that too. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean it's it's inspiration everywhere, and one thing that I will always hold in my heart as a respect and a nod to Washington D.C. Is that it really opened me up. D.C. is a melting pot, and you see all kinds of people from every corner of the earth and every kind of walk of life, and it really feeds you wanting to travel and you wanting to meet new people in new places, and being tolerant and open to different cultures. So, I love it. I absolutely love traveling. Someone asked, because as an ambassador, prior to Hendrick's, I was the ambassador for Monkey Shoulder blended malt whiskey for about 2 years, year and a half to 2 years, and I was the only ambassador in the United States, so it kept me extremely busy. And I'm talking on the road, anywhere from 280 to 320 days out of the year, just because we had so much going on. And my Monkey Shoulder parties were. I ain't even go there, girl. I ain't even gonna go.
Shame.
I ain't even gonna go. Nevertheless, I enjoy being home. It's good to be home to do things that you always wanted to do when you're on the road constantly. But I miss it. I miss getting on my planes. I miss touching down. I miss waiting for my luggage. All of that, I just miss it. I ain't nothing wrong with a hotel bed either. I mean, I love my bed here. I've built my house to fit me, but it's good. I love traveling. I love it.
I do too. It's like I complained about it before, but since we've been grounded, I'm like, oh my God, I just want to go back. I love going to my the bubble bars or the wine bars in the hotel, in the airport, and get a really good glass of wine and some truffle popcorn or something like that. Yes, and just experiencing, and that it was the inspiration behind Seek and Sip, because I wanted to go to all these different places and figure out, well, what do people like here? What are we drinking? And the different culture and the different way that people do things in the region or city to city. And it was just amazing how many people you meet and how many people you connect with through the love of spirits or wine.
Yes,
and food. So it's just amazing. And I totally agree with you. Travel, I always say travel changes things and travel changes people. I feel like when you are born into this world, like once you're able to start traveling, it's mandatory if you have a passport. I just feel that way. And I think that what happened is people will begin to prioritize travel a little bit more. So instead of buying your kid, $200 sneakers or $5,000 dune buggy or something like that, you'll start thinking about family vacations more in a global aspect and kind of moving away from like the Mexican resorts and things like that. But really take your kid out so that your family can really get out in this world and meet people and interact with different cultures. And that's going to be the key to us mending, fences with everyone. It's just, we have got to get out there and get out of ourselves and our expectations and start connecting with people. And
I agree.
Is the reason why I love this industry, because it's so welcoming. And just, do you have a bad story over a great cocktail or a great plate of food? Like, how is it possible? You can't ever have a bad time over a great glass of wine, right?
I mean, you can hear somebody else's bad time in conversation, but it ain't messing up mine. But no, I agree with you wholeheartedly that education and travel, for me, are two things I think that we as human beings should not do without, because they both contribute to tolerance and understanding and having such an open mind that really nothing else does. If I won't go down that road, but travel and education, but travel, see someone else, see something else, see the way something else is done, the way children are taught, the way someone else worships, the way someone else eats, the way someone else cooks, the way someone else sips and makes their cocktails, the way a suit is made, the way shoes are made. Everything is different, and it just, you find inspiration in seeing something else. And I just think it's no way those things can't contribute to a better society. And, you were talking about, my mantra, and, I like to say that, I'm an advocate of good vibes and delicious things at my core, because I love good energy. I love good vibes. I love giving it out. I love putting a smile on someone's face. I love creating an atmosphere, that is conducive to fun and good times. I love cooking. I love making drinks. I love hosting in my home. Any of my local friends or people who visit Washington, D.C. will tell you, if you get the invite, to my place, you might as well just spend the night because it's going to be the time of your trip. But moreover, when it comes to that, I like to say that I'm always a constant work in progress and that I love to live, laugh, love, travel, and of course, inspire. And if you were to look at, of course, we curate all of our social medias to a T, but I think that mine, although very curated, always reflects me at my core, even though it's wrapped in whatever brand that I'm on. So.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Wow, this has been really amazing, Vance. And we've come to the end of our session. I know you have things to do. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I do want to thank you so much for coming on and spending some time with us. Much, much, much appreciated. I hope this won't be your last time.
Anytime you need me, you got me.
That Amazonian comes out. Let's see if it's available in retail. I'll go grab it so we can check it out. Tell us how we can get in contact with you. How can we follow you? See what you're up to.
Absolutely. So you can catch me on the gram of Instagram at VTWiseGuy. My middle name is Thomas. I just told you one time. I'll never tell you again. Don't forget it. VTWiseGuy. On Instagram, you can get Hendrick's recipes or all of the unusualness with Hendrick's Gin at Hendrick's Gin on Instagram or hendricksgin.com. And of course, just be safe out there, beautiful people. I thank you for the opportunity to be able to share a little bit of my story and a little brand love. Enjoy the unusual responsibly, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Sounds good to me. Well, guys, you heard it first. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, if you didn't get a chance to grab that recipe for the Ricky Rosé, I have it. It's available. I don't mind sharing. There will be a link available when this video loads up and posts on the Facebook. So you'll have an opportunity to go there. Tune in because in the next couple of weeks, we're actually going to be taking our platform to IGTV as well. So we're expanding across our platforms. Yes, so that recipe will be available. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vance. It was wonderful having you. And
Anytime.
when I'm putting my feet under your table, boo, it's going down.
Bring it.
All right, y'all. As always, seek and still here for you. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. As always, we travel the world searching for the perfect sip. Love on each other real hard, guys. We need it right now. Thank you so much. Be safe, be healthy. Peace out. We'll see you later.